Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well and doing great. My name is Deepak. I have 15 plus years of experience in this field. So today we are going to talk about migrating on-premise data to Azure Cloud. So let's get started. What is Microsoft Azure? So Azure, before we talk about what is Microsoft Azure, let's talk about why Microsoft Azure. So we are going to take a step back. We will understand like why Microsoft Azure is there. So Azure basically, let me explain you a little bit. Azure is a cloud computing service which is provided by Microsoft. So like different vendors are providing different cloud services. So this is a cloud service which is basically being provided by the Microsoft, wherein you can host your data, you can publish your sites, applications. There's a lot of things, a lot more fun actually you can do with the Azure. So why Microsoft Azure? Like, okay, there are different cloud services being provided by different vendors. Like Google is providing GCP, Google Cloud Platform. AWS is providing, Amazon is providing AWS. Then what is the need with of using Microsoft Cloud, Microsoft Azure? There are a bunch of features. The one of the biggest feature in the case of Microsoft Cloud is that it basically supports integrations. I would say various integrations. So all the different technologies, tools which are developed by Microsoft Azure, it supports the direct integration with that. So in addition to that, whether you talk about in a programming background, like you have Visual Studio .NET, it supports a direct integration with that. If you talk about database, it supports that direct integration with that. You can have the integrated environment wherein, for example, I want to have an application which is going to be hosted at my on-premises, at my data center, and I want to store the logs over there at the cloud. So if you want to use that mix match configuration, it's going to support both of the things, and you are not going to face any kind of problem with that. So it supports mix and match, configuration with the different tools, I would say, which is being developed and supported by Microsoft. And if you are going to reach out to the Microsoft support as well, they are going to help you on that. Plus, one of the biggest advantages that it's not like you are going to get a bill of very high amount. It's like a pay-as-you-go service. So whatever the services that you're utilizing, whatever the things that you're utilizing, whatever the things that you are going to utilize, that whether it's like application, VM, web application, you are going to be charged for that accordingly. So it's basically pay-as-you-go service, like a unit of electricity, whatever you consume. As for the units, you have to pay the bill. Similar to that case, in this case also, you are going to pay for the services that you're going to use. Apart from that, you're not going to be charged. It's not going to be like you are getting a hefty bill where you haven't used the services, and you got a charge of so many things. So it's like a pay-as-you-go service. Whatever you use, you pay for it. Now, what is Microsoft Azure? Like I said, this is a cloud service which is being provided by Microsoft, wherein you can perform the direct integration with different platforms of Microsoft. So, wherein if you talk about if you're a developer, you are an IT professional, you can even build your entire applications on the cloud very easily. So, having said that, let's take a broader look at what Azure has to offer us, just to understand the various domains in Azure that we have. So let's move on and let's talk about ADF, which is known as Azure Data Factory. Again, like we talked about Azure, why basically Microsoft Azure we have. Let's talk about why Azure Data Factory we have. So modern data. So basically, modern data handling requires you to move, your data from your on-premises to your cloud. So wherein, for example, let's say in my organization, we are storing our data in bulk, maybe thousands of TBs and everything. So Microsoft basically provides you various integration, various, I would say, plug-in with the help of which you can directly integrate the data from your on-premise to your cloud, or even you can migrate the data from your on-premise to cloud. And later on, let's say you migrate to cloud. I migrated with my thousands of TBs of data to cloud. Now I want to move back to my on-premise environment. It's going to support that as well. You will be able to migrate your entire data from cloud back to the on-premise environment. So it supports that integration. The next is this data needs basically processing. So which has to go through a certain steps, which is going to make the process easier, and it's going to have the I would say the data at a granular level. For example, I have a data which is like segregated at thousands of dbs. Maybe the data was out of thousand, let's say there's a data of 1000 db. It was segregated various places. I realized after aggregating all the data that it was 800 tb only, not the 1000 tb. 200 tb was a duplicate. So in that case, it basically will help you to integrate your data very easily, and it's going to filter out the data, what are the common files, what are the changes that was made, so that you are basically utilizing less amount of space instead of making a duplicate. If you talk about data factory, it basically helps you to automate the process. That's one of the primary thing nowadays, wherein the data is increasing so much. Now data is a crude oil. We need a way through which we can maintain the data easily. So data factory basically allows you to do the same. Now, what exactly is data factory? Let's talk about it. So basically, data factory, you can say it's a cloud-based integration service which allows you to create a data-driven workflow in the cloud for automating data movement and the data transformation. So wherein using Azure Data Factory, if I talk about, you can create and even you can schedule your workflows. So based on which you can, like, you have a task scheduler on your Windows, you can schedule a task at that specific amount of time. The task is going to run similar to that case only, wherein you can schedule the task, and at that amount of time, your task is going to run. Wherein if I basically have created a schedule that every 5 p.m. of every day, the data has to be imported, exported, whatever the kind of operation I have defined, it's going to support that operation. Even it can process and transform the data by using different computing services like Azure Insight, Hadoop, Azure Data Lake. Let's just talk about a little bit, how does it work. So the diagram that you can see on my screen, this is basically the working of data factory. So it basically have a pipeline which is basically data driven workflow in Azure Data Factory, which is going to perform broadly 4 steps. First is connect and collect, wherein it's going to connect to the different data sources that you have, and it's going to collect the information which is basically required for your data to be processed. Then you basically have transform and enrich, wherein it's going to see that if your data is duplicate or not, if your data has same amount of information or not, all this kind of things is going to basically figure it out in that case. If there's a duplicacy, it's going to inform you at that point of time only. In the next stage is going to publish the data, where data is going to be published to the inventory where you want to publish it. And the last one, you have the monitor, because now you have the data. Like I said, data is it's going to be in the raw form, it's your crude oil. You have to make sure that there are no such attacks on it, there is no eavesdropping, there is no one who is trying to copy the data from your environment to someone else's environment. That's something it's going to happen. So that's basically is the data factory. Now, if you talk about the concept of data factory, there are various concepts of data factory. First is the pipeline. So in the case of pipeline you can say is a logical grouping of activities that can perform a unit of work. Next is data set. Data set is basically it represents the data structure within the data store. Third is the activity, which basically represent processing step in a pipeline. And last is the linked services, which is basically information needed to connect to the external sources. Now, if you are planning to take a course from Edureka in the Azure basically, and you want to dive in more detail, then in that case, this is basically the course structure. It looks like in the first class, you're going to learn about the Azure solution, the different components of it, and the hands-on. In the second module, you're going to learn about Azure virtual machine networking and the hands-on on it. In the third module, you're going to learn about Azure VMSs, availability zone, hands-on on it. After that, we are going to head towards where you're going to learn about Azure App Services and the different features that you have with the perspective hands-on. Next module, you're going to learn about Azure hybrid connectivity and the site recovery with the hands-on. And in the next module, you're going to learn about what exactly is Azure storage solution, the different design patterns of it with the perspective hands-on. And you're going to learn about Azure Kubernetes CV, services in the 7th class, what is Docker, orchestration, microservices, all that kind of stuff with the hands-on. And then you're going to learn about Azure Active Directory and role-based access control with the hands-on on it. And then you're going to learn about Azure monitoring and insight services with the respective hands-on. And in the last module, you're going to learn about design Azure migration. And at the end, you are going to have a cape like this. We are going to become a superhero like this. Just kidding. Yeah, that's something, I mean, when it's superhero, you means that you're going to have the good knowledge in the same field. Now let's move on and talk about the data lake concepts. So what exactly is data lake? Let's talk about it. So data lake, you can say it is an enterprise-wide hyperscale repository for big data analytics workload. So Azure Data Lake holds data of any size, any type, and it allows you to do operational and exploratory analytics. So if you talk about some of the core concept of data lake, it basically have 4 major concepts. Analytics, wherein you will be able to see that what kind of like visualization you can create. Now you want to have a monitoring, you want to see a real-time data which is transforming, you're getting profit loss, all this kind of analytics is going to be possible in this. You basically talk about Azure Data Lake, wherein with the help of which you can integrate with various components with different computing services. If you talk about storage, it supports 4 type of storage: the file, blob, queue, and table. You can choose which storage type you want to use as per your requirement, and the last one you have is the Azure Data Store. Now, if we talk about some of the core concept, so in the case of data lake, you can perform analytics on of data of any kind of size. Any kind of size, you can perform the data analytics very easily. Now, if you talk about the second concept, all users are going to be productive on the day one. It's not like that you have to waste a lot of time, a lot of energy in implementing something. You can just create the components at the same time without any kind of lag. The third one basically means that your data is going to be ready for your enterprise. It's not like that you are creating a resource, you have to take a while. It's going to take ages sometimes. It's not going to be like that. So your data is going to be ready at the same moment. And in next one, if we talk about, it's going to have a structured data. So when they have help of data lake, it's not like that you can only store structured data. It supports all kind of data. Basically, you can store structured data, you can store unstructured data, you can store semi-structured data. And now if you talk about how basically data is stored, it basically can be stored in extents and vertices. It can basically support in a parallel form because it supports parallel read and write operation. It basically supports replication of data as well. So guys, that's it. Now let's do one thing. Let's perform a small practical here. So let's say I have a requirement wherein I have to deploy a virtual machine. Like I have a requirement wherein I want to build a virtual machine in my environment wherein I don't want that other people from different environment will be able to access my Azure, but I want to create a virtual machine and I want to give direct access to them. So how I can do it? Let's take a look. So this is basically Azure platform, the way it's going to look like. Now let's say I want to create a virtual machine. In order to create a virtual machine, you are going to create a resource group here. So let me create a resource group and I'm going to give it a name as Deepak. You can give any name the way you want and create it out. Let's say I have a requirement wherein I want to create a virtual machine, let's say a Windows Server 2019. So in order to do so, you can create a virtual machine. Now, if you know, basically, whenever you create a virtual machine on your system, it takes a while. Like, for example, if I'm creating a virtual machine on my system, on my platform, it's going to take at least 40 minutes to configure and get everything. And after that, you have to do network configuration, everything, which will again take more 15-20 minutes. So in total, it's going to take almost an hour, right? So in this case, it's not going to happen like that. Wherein the virtual machine is going to be created in less than 5 minutes. Let me even explain you. So in this case, I'm going to configure this virtual machine in this resource group, which is going to act like a repository. Over there, the virtual machine is going to be created. Now I'm going to give it a name as Deepak test and provide a username as Deepak. And let's say I'm providing a password as this. And create this out. It's going to show you the pricing, like what exactly is going to be the price for the virtual machine. So if you're using pay as you go service, like I said, guys, in this case, each and everything is going to be transparent. It's not going to be like that you are going to be charged unethically for something. Whatever you consume, you are going to be paid for it. So each and every operation, for example, I'm creating this virtual machine, I'm creating a web application, I'm creating a database. Each and everything is going to be transparent for you. So you will be able to see that what exactly is the amount that I'm going to be charged, why I'm going to be charged. Each and everything is going to be displayed then and there only. Now let's create this virtual machine, and here you will see the magic. It will not take for like an hour or so. It's going to be created very quickly. Here we go. Now you see right now how quickly this virtual machine got created. It has not taken even like 5 minutes, I would say, and how fast it was. Generally, you know that how much time the entire creation of virtual machine takes. It was very quick. So now let's say, I want to give access of this virtual machine to someone else who is not there, who is not part of my environment, and I don't want to give him the access. So how I will be able to give access of my virtual machine to him? So you just click on create, click on connect, click on RDP and download this RDP file. And you can pass on this RDP file to any of the person. Now let's say I'm onto a different environment. I got this RDP file. I'm going to use the same credentials that I used, over there. My username and the password. Connect. Now here you see the virtual machine is being connected. Even though if I'm connected to a different environment, different workstation, everything, I don't have to worry about it because I can just give the RDP file to anyone, and whosoever wants to get the access, he will be able to access my environment easily without giving the access of my cloud environment, Azure one. Okay. Now let's say I want to take this access off. Let's keep it connected, and now I'm coming here. I realized that I have created this virtual machine by mistake, and someone else is using it. I'm going to be charged. So you can simply delete this resource group, and you're going to see that it's going to be in progress here. So it will take a moment. So now the resource group is going to be deleted. It will take somewhere around 1 to 2 minutes. Once it's going to be deleted, then whatever the component that you have created in the resource group, like web application, database, each and everything is going to be deleted, and you're not going to be charged for this. And even if you take a look now, resource group has also been deleted. Whatever the VM and any resource you're going to create, in my case, I will create one. It has deleted already. So thank you guys for joining us today's webinar. It's an immense pleasure to meet all of you. Stay safe in this COVID pandemic, and we are going to meet in the future webinars like this. Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Bye bye.